Hello everyone, welcome back to today's lecture. So today we are here almost in the last leg of our module 5. So our today's topic of discussion will be working with the CSV files and JSON data. Right. So CSV file and JSON data, unlike the previous lecture, what we saw about the PDF and the Word document, right? So they were a little complex document. They were binary files, right? But unlike PDF and Word document, CSV files and JSON files are like any other text document, and they are just plain text file, right? CSV and JSON files, they are also just plain text files. So for those who don't know about the CSV and the JSON file, a quick overview of what is CSV and JSON, right? So CSV basically stands for comma separated values, right? CSV is comma separated values. So it's like a Excel document which the values are stored with separated with commas, right? And the JSON file, JSON basically stands for JavaScript Object Notation. Right, so we will deep dive more into it. We will understand these documents first, and then we will see what type of operations or working that we can do using this, files and the using these files and the modules which are provided by the Python. Right. So as I said, CSV stands for comma separated values, and JSON is stands for JavaScript object notation. Right. So JSON is JavaScript object notation. Okay. So leading up with the first thing, that is the CSV file. Right. So in order to work with the CSV file, the Python has the module called CSV. Right. It has a module itself. In order to do specific task with respect to CSV, we have a module called CSV module. So like any other module, you have to install this module, and then you can use the functions provided by this CSV module. Right. So this is a sample data. Here you can see a normal CSV document, right? A CSV file would have the data something like this, right? So the first value is, as you can make it out, it's a timestamp. Second value is some value, right? Like these are basically the names of the fruits, and there are some numbers associated with it, right? So let us not get much more into it. What are these? But the point here is that uh, the different values here in the CSV file are stored with separated commas, right? So this is the general format of a CSV file. So in case if you want to have more example of the CSV file, you can simply go and visit the website provided by the author here, that is nostarch.com slash automate stuff, right? So there you get many other documents which you can download for free. Anyway, so moving ahead, let us try to read the objects of a CSV file, right? Read the data from the CSV file using this CSV module. So like any other module, first I've been repeating again, we have to import the module, right? We have to set up an object in order to open that CSV file, right? Now this object will be used in order to play with or work with the opened file, right? That is open example.csv. Now first thing is to read the object, right? So once we have created the object, we are going to the read the CSV file. So example reader is equal to CSV dot reader followed by the object name, that is example file, right? So just in case if you want to list out the data present in that, you can put an object called example data and list the reader. So this will show you the data which is stored inside that file. Anyway, so this is about reading the object and using the object, reading the data inside the file, CSV file. So as you can see, example data 0, comma 0, 0, that is the zeroth element, zero value, that is nothing but the timestamp, right? So if I have to show you the data again, so 0, 0 is the first. This is 0, 0. This is 0, 1. This is 0, 2. This is 1, 0, right? This whole thing is 1, 0. This is 1, 1. This is 1, 2, and so on. So when you try to display the data that is at 0, 0, you get the timestamp. right? 0 1 is apples, 0 2 is the value, that is, it can be the quantity or price, whatever it is. Let's not get into it. But that's how you display the data, right? Now, reading the data from the reader objects, right? Reading the data from the reader object itself. So here we are going to read the data from the reader's object in a for loop, using a for loop. So again, repeated steps: import CSV, set up the object, open the file, set up the reader object, right? And once we read for all the rows, we are going to loop up for all the rows in that CSV file, and then we are going to print those rows with some standard format. Let's say we are going to put it more formatted way. So row 1 is this data, row 2 is data, and so on. Right. So next thing is a writer object. Now once we know about the reader object, when we want to, let's say, read a data from one CSV file and write into another file, we might require the writer object as well. So how do we create the writer object? First, import the CSV as usual, right? Open the document. Let's say we want to open a new document which will be output.csv. So in this, we are going to write the object, write the data. So we have to set up the permission as a write mode. So write mode, new line. So here output writer is csv.writer output file, which is the output file object here, right? So then we can write the data, whatever the data that you want to write, see, and then ultimately close the data, close the file. Now once we have written the object, writer object. So okay, so this new line argument is actually out of the scope of our syllabus, so no need to worry about this new line keyword argument. Don't worry about this. Now let us see an example of the delimiter and the line terminator, right? The delimiter and the line terminator keyword arguments. So let's say if you want to format the data in a more specific way with some delimiters and some line terminators, you can use this function, that is csv.writer, with three arguments here basically. First one being the CSV file itself. Second one is the specified delimiter, right? Which is, in this case, it is slash t. Slash t will act as the delimiter, right? And slash n slash n, which is double slash n, will be acting as the line terminator, right? So this will be our line terminator. So when you try to view the data, right? So this will look something like this, right? So this is the produced example.csv file, which is using the delimiter and the line terminator, right? Now, yeah, one more thing to be noticed here, that this file here, the new file which we have created, example.tsv, right? Since we have added some delimiters and some line terminators, now our cells here are separated by these tabs, right? These are separated by tabs and they are not separated by commas, right? So in this case, this doesn't become the comma separated value. Instead, it becomes the tab separated value. So the extension of our file will be changed. Our new file extension will be .tsv, right? So example.tsv, which stands for tab separated files, right? Makes sense, right? So let us go ahead and discuss an interesting project, that is removing the header from the CSV files. So what we have to do is we have to have multiple CSV files, right? So important point here is that we have to have CSV files, more than one file. So we are dealing with multiple files here. So we need to have multiple CSV files, and our task is to remove the header of each CSV file, right? So removing the header from the CSV files. Now, in order to remove the header, we need to first access all those files, right? All those CSV files. So broadly, if I have to say on the high level points, that first thing is to find all the CSV files, right? And of course, they have to be in the current working directory, as I've repeated before. I have mentioned this before, that whatever operations you perform with respect to, let's say, PDF or Word document or CSV file, whatever document that you process or deal, you have to have those documents present in the current working directory so that it becomes accessible at your terminal and you can perform these operations. So first thing is to find all the CSV files in the current working directory. Then is to read the full content of each file, right? We have to read the full content, but write out the content skipping the first line. Why first line? Because first line is of course the header, and we have to remove the header, right? We have to remove the header from CSV file. So read the full content of each file, write out the content skipping the first line to the new CSV file. So that will be our task, right? Now how do we implement it using our code? So in order to find all CSV file, we have to list out the directory, the current working directory. So we are going to use os.list directory function, right? Skipping all the non-CSV files. So we are not considering any non-CSV file. We are only focused for CSV files, right? And then we are going to create the reader object, right? Then we are going to create the writer object. So reader object is to read the CSV file. Writer object is to write into the new CSV file. Whatever the data that we have read, we have to write that data into the new file. So let us see step by step how the things will work here. So reading the each CSV file, so we look through each CSV file, right? So for each CSV file in os.list directory, if it is not a CSV file that ends with .csv, then we simply skip it using continue statement, right? So once we ignore all the non-CSV file, all we have is all the CSV files. So now we have to read those CSV files, and reading is as same as the previous what we have seen with this with other documents. So what we do is we first create the object which will read that CSV, which will open that CSV file. We create a reader object, and for each row, if that read object line number is 1, in this case, since we are skipping the header, we will be checking if the line number is 1. We simply skip the first row because we want to remove the header, right? And then we amend the other rows. We amend the CSV rows dot amend row. So now we have all the content or all the data, right? All the rows without the first row, without the first row, which is nothing but our header, right? So fair enough. We have now read the CSV file, excluding the first row, that is our header. Now next task is to write that data that we have read, right? So write out the CSV file without the first row. So how do you do that? The other things remains the same. We set up the for loop. We traverse the file to see whether it's a CSV file or not. And when we try to when we read all the when we have successfully read all the essential data, here essential data is everything excluding the first row, that is nothing but our header. So once we have read all the content, we write out into the CSV file. So for that, we need to have the CSV file object, which will open the file, let's say header removed CSV file with write permission, right? And then we are going to use the writer object to write that data, right? So for each of the row in the CSV rows, we are going to write that particular row. So once we are done with all the rows, we are going to close that file as usual. So now we have all the written data. Now once let me show you, once we write all the data, the terminal would look something like this. We will have something like this at the terminal, removing the header from so and so CSV file. So don't worry about this name. This is just the file, different CSV files which are present in the current working directory of the author here, but you can have different files as well. So that will be different in your case. So removing header from so and so file, and so on. It will continue until the number of CSV files that are there in your current working directory, and then it will store it into the new file, right? A new CSV file. So your new CSV file will contain all the data, right, without the header. So we have successfully removed all the header, right? We have removed all the header from the all CSV files. Right. So this was all about the CSVs. Now let us go ahead and discuss what is the JSON and APIs. Right. So as I've mentioned, JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. Now it is the native JSON is the native J. Some people call it JSON, some people call it JSON. So it depends pronunciation. There are multiple pronunciation to it, but let's call it okay JSON. And JSON is the native way that JavaScript program writes their data structures and usually resembles what Python's pprint function would produce. So whatever we have done in pprint, that is pretty printing, right? So basically pprint was used to format the output in a proper way. So similar task is what the JSON does. It has the data in a formatted way. So just here, there's one just simple example of a JSON document. So this is a JSON file which has, you know, this data. So as you go through the data, it is quite readable, right? For example, let's say this name Zophie is a cat. Is cat? It's true. So it is a cat. My Scott 0. Naps taken 37.5, whatever that value might be in seconds or minutes, right? Right. So line IQ null. So these are just few parameters, few keys and their values, uh, you know, uh, in a proper formatted way. So that's how the JSON data would look like. So you don't have to worry about the JSON data here. You don't have to know Java in order to use the JSON file, the JSON data here, right? So let us have an example of the JSON. Let us work with the JSON, and as any other module, like we had the CSV module for working with the CSV type of document, we have the module called JSON for working with the JSON data as well. So as you can see, so Python provides a lot of flexibility. There are a lot of operations that you can do. The Python community is really very big, and a lot of support documents that you will get in case if you're really looking forward for some specific things. So you will get something about the data, about the project or whatever that you're thinking of doing or implementing with Python. You will find something related to that. So such vast is Python, and it is easy to learn plus easy to code as well. Right. So coming back to the topic, the JSON module, as I've said, like CSV module, uh, there is JSON module as well, which will be helpful for us to use the functions and operate and work with the different types of JSON operations that we are going to see. So first thing is reading the JSON. Right. First, let's see how do we read a JSON with load S function. Now, please, focus here. It's not loads function. It is load S, where S stands for string. So basically, the JSON. How do we read the JSON? We read the JSON using this function, which will load the string. Right. So this load S stands for loading the string. That is load string, and it is not loads. Right. So as it is mentioned here, the name means load string. Let me highlight this as well. It's load string and not loads. Right. Okay. Let me scratch. That is just underlined. Okay. Anyways, so let us go ahead and see how do we read the JSON file. Right. So in order to read the JSON data, let us first see uh, the string of the JSON data itself. So we will take the same example so that it becomes easy for you to understand. So strings of our JSON data is this: the name Zophie is cat true, my Scott 0, the line IQ null. Right. So like any other module, we have to first import the JSON. Right. Very important. uh, Import the JSON. And once we import the JSON, we use the object. We create an object that is JSON data as Python value. So what we are going to do is we are going to load this string in this object. Right? So JSON data as Python value is equal to JSON dot load s, which is load string and provided by the string inside it. So our string is stored in the variable. string of JSON data, right? So hence we have given this as string of JSON data, which is alluding to this particular instruction, right? So when you try to print the output will be JSON data as Python value, as you can see, right? Now let us go ahead and see writing the JSON into the writing the JSON with the help of the function called dumps, right? So dumps will again it also it again stands for dump string and not dumps. So it is dump string. Let me highlight this again. Right. So what it will do is at the name as the name suggests, it will just dump the string. So we have the Python value. We import the JSON. We have the string, that is a string of JSON data. JSON dot dumps Python value. So dump s is dump the string stored in the Python value. So when you try to output it, you get the same string, right? Which is here, right? Now with this understanding to to read the JSON and writing the JSON, let us go ahead and fetch the current weather data using the JSON document, right? So what we are going to do is again we are going to fetch the data, that is nothing but reading the value, reading the JSON data value. So here in this case, it will be reading the weather report with the current weather data, right? So what our program will be doing is we'll be reading the requested location, right? So requested, we are requesting a location here, right? So that should recall that should remind you of some other module which you have already learned. Hopefully, few of you are able to recall the model that we have discussed. Right? This keyword here should help you to recall that module. Anyways, we will see that as well. In case if you are not able to recall it. So first thing is to read the requested location. So which will be from the command line, right? So once we are when we are talking about command line, we have to make use of the sys. We have to use the sys module as so we have to import the sys module because we are dealing with system command line arguments, right? So we have to import the sys module as well. Once we read the requested location, we are going to download the JSON weather data, right, from the openweathermap.org website. So this is a particular website that we are going to use, right? Once we download the JSON data, we are going to convert the string of JSON data to the Python data, right? That is put our Python data structure, and then we are going to print that data, which is nothing but our weather data. So we are going to print the weather data for today as well as the next 2 days. So today, tomorrow, and day after tomorrow, like that. So what our program will be doing here is we have we are going to make use of join string, that is sys.rv, because we are making use of the command line argument, right? So we are going to make use of sys.argv to get the location. We are going to call the request.get. Now it should be clear which module that we are going to use again, right? So we are going to call a requests.get function to download the weather data. Then call the JSON load s, that is load string, to convert the JSON data to the Python data, right? And then ultimately print the weather forecast. So let us go and discuss step by step into depth as to how exactly it is done. So first thing is to get the location from the command line, right? So very important, the module that we are going to use, as I've said, import the JSON, the request module, right? Requests module, and the sys module, which is stands for system module, because we are making use of the command line arguments, right? So when we make use of the command line arguments, we have to first check whether the uh, number of commands given are correct. So if the length of the command line argument is less than 2, we are going to simply exit the system, right? So print usage quickweather.py location and sys.exit. And then we are going to join that location. That is location is that particular location with this, and we are going to join that with respect to our first argument, right? So that is getting the location. Now once we have got the location, we download the JSON data for that particular location, right? So as I mentioned, we are going to make use of the openweathermap.org website. That's what the website that the author has used here. So we have to provide the URL for that. So let's declare the URL as HTTP colon followed by the name of the website, right? And then we request to get that particular URL, right? Because since we are making use of the particular website in our program, we have to request to get that URL, and that request will be stored in the variable response. And then we're going to check the response whether the status, right, status is correct or not, whether the status is live or not. So we raise the status, raise for that status. Once we have this downloaded JSON data, we are going to load the JSON data into a new file, and we are going to print that data, which is nothing but our weather. Right? So in order to convert this to a Python value, we're going to call the JSON.loadAs function, which is JSON.loadString function. Right? So this is how the JSON data would look like: the city, the coordinates, latitude, longitude, country, ID, and so on. Right? So clouds, degree, humidity, pressure, temperature, weather, and so on. So let us say this is the data that we have downloaded from that website. This is the JSON data. Now our task is to load that JSON data into a Python variable, right? So using the load_s function. So weather data is equal to JSON.load_s response.text, because our response.text has that data. And then if you want to print the weather description, you can use the weather data list, which will be printing that is current weather in that particular location is so and so. So we are going to display the weather for the current day, for then for tomorrow, and then day after tomorrow, and so on. Right? So this is just a format. It depends upon you what you want to print, but the output would look like something like this. So this is current weather in San Francisco. CA is clear. That is, sky is clear. This is the description. Right? This is the description here. And weather report for tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and so on. So this is about fetching the weather data and displaying it right of the terminal. So basically, what we were trying to do, we were trying to extract or read the JSON data, right, which is the formatted data in JSON format, and then we were able to print that data. So by converting that JSON data into Python data, and then made it available on the terminal, right? So that's how we were able to extract the data, the JSON data, and print the weather report, right? Fetching the current weather data. So I hope the session was interesting, and you can try out similar things with respect to JSON data or CSV file and so on. Right? There are some more ideas which are similar to this. See, ideas for similar programs, collecting the weather forecast for several campsites, hiking trials, right? So so that which one will have the best weather and so on. For in order to select and go for a hiking or a trekking. Anyway, so there are a lot of other similar programs which you can think of, which are given here in the test book. So you can think of the similar thing. Anyway, so this is all about the module 5. With this, we have come to the end of this module 5 with fetching the current weather data. So that completes the module 5, and in turn our uh, complete syllabus, right? So I hope this subject was interesting. This subject is very important because Python is again very interesting language, and we have seen so many interesting examples which you can make use of, right from password locker and so on. So there are a lot of examples and projects that we have discussed here, right? So please, whatever the program that you write, save them and try to use. Uh, Modify them and use it in your daily life so that you can compile all these small projects to create a bigger one, right? So with this, I should conclude the lecture, and if you have any doubt, you can contact me and we shall clarify the doubts, right? So we shall conclude the lecture here. uh, Thanks for listening, and you can drop the questions, whatever the questions that you have in either our Google Classroom, right? So With this, I'll conclude the lecture. Thank you.